Getting ready for a whole new adventure, work camping at Crescent Lake, plus our brand new Keystone Hideout experience. What went right, what went wrong, and how we're tackling stink bug invasions. And as always, an RV news update and pro tip you won't want to miss. Welcome to the Restless Nomads, the ultimate RV show for modern-day rubber tramps and weekend warriors alike. Whether you're chasing sunsets full-time, savoring seasonal escapes, or just hitting the road for a quick weekend getaway, this is your go-to show for tips, tricks, and tales from the road. Join us as we dive into everything RV, choosing the right rig, surviving life on wheels, and navigating the highs and lows of life on the move. From towables to motorhomes, budget hacks to campsite secrets, we've got you covered. So buckle up, nomads, and let's hit the road to adventure, 1 mile at a time. And welcome back. Thanks for joining me. My name is Mike Wood. I'm the station manager of Gold Country Radio, where this broadcast originates, and a member of the Restless Nomads, along with my wife, Angela Wood, who's also a station manager at Gold Country Radio. Check out the travel vlog at therestlessnomads.com. That's therestlessnomads.com. Let's get right into it. RV news this week. There's a tire recall alert. Goodyear has announced a recall on select endurance RV tires manufactured in early 2023 due to potential sidewall failures. If you bought new tires recently, check your DOT code to make sure you're safe before your next trip. Also, RV dealers pushing huge discounts on 2024 models, with 2025 units rolling in fast. RV dealers nationwide are offering major markdowns on remaining 2024 inventory. It's a great time for buyers willing to pick up last year's models. Expect savings of up to $10,000 or more on travel trailers and fifth wheels. We took advantage of that. Hey, we are prepping for Crescent Lake, our work camping adventure coming up. This will be our third job work camping. The first was at Lava Lake in the Deschutes National Forest up near Bend. The second one was at Lake Cochise near Seattle, Washington, Cle Elum, if you know the area. And that was a lot of fun, although that was dry camping. And after that summer, we decided that no more dry camping for an entire summer for us. So that's one of the very first questions that we ask when interviewing potential employers in this industry. It's just as much them interviewing you as you are interviewing them, because you have to live in the site that they provide for an entire season. So one of the biggest questions we have right off the bat is there electricity? That's a deal breaker if there is not. We just don't want to live on a generator for months on end. Well, we're gearing up for this brand new chapter, going up to Crescent Lake. They do have electricity for the camp host, by the way. A lot of preparation, from organizing our gear to making sure the rig is ready. And this is a brand new rig, so we're getting things shook out and trying to get things fixed. With a new RV, obviously you're going to expect little nitnoid things and some major things, in our case, to go wrong. And we're trying to get that all fixed before we have to live in it all summer. Also setting up workstations so that I can manage the radio station remotely from an hour and a half away. That's done over satellite and cell networks and through a host of technology that gets the signal to the programming computer here in the studio and then sent up to the tower site. It's really interesting if you're a radio nerd or a computer nerd, but it's magic to everyone else. Also, some things that we're doing to prepare the RV for some longer stays. So we just put in a big Amazon order, and one of those things, actually two of those things, were designed to make our puppies and us a little happier. We have two little dogs that we take with us. One is a Maltese Yorkie and the other is a Chihuahua Yorkie. Both, one's about 12 pounds. The other one is about 5 pounds, but they like to scratch things. So we ordered a screen door protector because the flimsy little screen door on an RV is no match for any dog, even if they are only 5 pounds. So that's coming in the mail, and I'll be installing that. And in case you didn't know that that was available, it is. So get it early and protect your screen from your pooch before they destroy it, because that can get costly to replace it. Another thing we ordered, we have a little playpen designed for babies that we take along with us on short trips, and it's just a little 6 foot in diameter circle that we can put them outside so they can go to the bathroom and so forth. We don't have to always take them out on a leash, especially if we're in the middle of cooking dinner or something and we can't go on a walk. Although when we are camping, we walk about 3 times a day, and we average around 4 miles or so at times while we're camping. It's a great way to get in shape, and that's the whole goal. We're being very conscientious about how often we're walking the dogs, and they absolutely love it. But this little 6 foot in diameter playpen that we have for the dogs works great. It's lightweight. We take it with us for shorter camping trips, up to a week long. But we thought, and we've seen other people do this too, if we're going to be in one spot for an entire season, it would be nice to have a fence that goes all the way around the passenger side of the trailer, maybe 12 feet out or so in the length of the travel trailer. So we ordered a fence kit for that. I think it was about $200, and we'll set that up around the travel trailer there right in the front, so that instead of having to wake up, put clothes on, put shoes on and everything first thing in the morning and get those dogs out to the playpen, we'll be able to swing the door wide open and they can go out there and go pee-pee after holding it all night. They are eager to do that, and it's really not fun for them to sit there and watch you laboriously put on your stockings and your boots when they have to pee. So just think about it from their perspective. It's beneficial for them as well. All right, so like I said, we got a brand new rig. We picked up a 2024 Keystone Hideout. The model is a 22 MLSWE. It's a 28-foot travel trailer. It's the perfect size for 2 people and 2 little dogs. It's last year's model, so we saved a bunch of money because they're trying to get rid of all those 2024s. They're brand new, never been used, but they are making room for the 2025 inventory coming in. So first half of the year or so, it's a great idea to look at these year prior models because you're going to save a significant amount of money. You lose a little bit of negotiating power on that because they are so hugely discounted because they're trying to move them. But with all RVs, you have your headaches. Used RVs, you have no idea what has happened, where some moisture might have gotten in and somebody did a really great job repairing it and perhaps you missed it. That's a huge concern. But new RVs come with their own set of headaches. Now, of course, we're on the 1-year manufacturer warranty, and we're using that for now, especially for things that are expensive to fix. There's no reason for us to shell out cash out of pocket to get those things fixed. One of the things that went bad right from the get-go, in fact, we noticed it the very first night that we picked it up in Kelso, Washington, was that the fridge, it's a 12-volt Furrion fridge, did not cool. It did not work. And we troubleshot, that we were troubleshooting it, did hard resets on it and so forth, and it would not work. So we were living out of a cooler. On the drive back from Kelso, Washington, we stopped in Eugene and then made the drive back here, kind of split it up a little bit. But we were stuck waiting on warranty approval, which is no fast process. The rig stayed in the shop. Now, they did, to be fair, say that we could take it and use it while we were awaiting the approval and the parts to be shipped in. But who wants to use an RV without a fridge? That's the whole reason of having an RV. It's kind of like being in a tent if you don't have all the luxuries. So we left it at the shop, and they had to wait. It's not their fault. That's not the shop's fault that it takes so long for Keystone to approve things on the manufacturer's warranty. But I'll just say that there are some things. The RV techs do not care about your rig quite as much as you do. So even after the parts arrived and it was approved for warranty work, they got the fridge working and we were tickled pink about that. But we noticed after our most recent trip that the fridge was hanging half out of the wall because they didn't pay attention to detail and they didn't remount the fridge back into the cabinet where it belongs, the hole in the wall where the fridge goes. There were just missing screws, and it actually damaged a little piece of trim because that thing came sliding out, and I thought, man, we are lucky that that thing just didn't come out all the way, and then we have an 80-pound, 100-pound fridge bouncing around on the interior of our travel trailer while we're rolling down the road. That would have done some major damage. So I'm a little bit ticked about that, but I have come to expect it, and I know that as a general rule of thumb, the RV technicians that are working on your rig do not care about your rig nearly as much as you care about it. So this is why I typically do things myself. And of course, I'm not going to take the RV back up to the shop to have them put screws in there. Primarily because I'm like, hey, this is easy. I can do it in a couple of seconds. I wish that they would have caught it after they did the finished install, but they didn't. I'll get the screws in there and get it mounted properly instead of having to go through the rigmarole of towing it up to the shop and waiting on them to do it. Another thing that we had, the converter was bad out the gate too from Kelso. The converter was no good, so it was not charging our house battery. We have a lithium house battery, and the converter auto converts, but it was failing to do that. So the shop also, under warranty, installed that converter, and that took some time for approval and then also for the parts to be shipped in as well. They don't just keep this stuff laying around the shop. They have to have it shipped in. Generally, and understand that when you have warranty work to be done under the manufactured warranty, there really isn't a lot of incentive for them to pay to repair these things after you have paid them the money for the rig. It's all expense to them at that point. So obviously they're going to take their time. So just know that about these manufacturer warranties. So like I said, moral of the story, no one cares about your rig as much as you do. If you want something done right on it, it's best to do it yourself. Also, check all the work that they do. If you do have other folks doing the work, it's a good idea to just check the work and make sure that it's done correctly. Most of the little stuff, when it comes to mounting and small issues, as long as, let me say it this way, it does not take much to learn how to do most of the maintenance and upgrades and so forth on your RV. The manufacturer warranty does come in handy for expensive items like this fridge that we had fixed would have cost $2,000 if we had bought a new one. So obviously we don't want to spend $2,000. We're going to use the manufacturer's warranty to have it fixed. Now, if it had been something minor and small, I probably likely would have fixed it myself right there in the campground because of the time it takes to get it approved and wait for parts to come in. So some things to think about when you're balancing it out. And hey, if you want to know, I'll spill the beans here. The cost of our brand new 2024 travel trailer was, I think we negotiated it down to $23,000. So that's, and I think MSRP on a 2025 model is around 40. So that'll give you an idea of the steep discounts that you're going to get if you go with a year prior. Now, another problem that we have encountered with the brand new RV is it sat on the lot in Kelso for a long, long time. and no telling where it picked this problem up. But right off the bat, when we went and picked it up, we noticed that there were stink bugs, and we would see a couple of dead ones here and there and so forth. And ever since we picked it up in Kelso, we've moved it 3 or 4 times now, and we still occasionally will find the random stink bug. So there's probably a small invasion of stink bugs. Now, fortunately, they don't bite. They don't cause any real ruckus. So that's nice, although my wife absolutely hates them. So what are we going to be doing before we go to Crescent Lake? We're going to remove all the clothing, all the food, all the bedding, all the cushions, everything else in there, and we're going to bomb it. Pesticide fogger for indoor use, bomb the whole thing, and once that's over and it's ventilated, we'll wipe down every surface and get everything safe again for us, mop the floors and so forth. And it's important to know that dogs can be exposed to those chemicals too, and that's not good for them. You don't want them licking that stuff. So a real good wipe down after you bomb an RV is a great idea. Which brings me to another topic on just pests in general, and we'll talk more about that right after this break. Visit goldcountryradio.org to see a list of featured community shows. If you go to featured shows, hit that tab, you'll actually see where you can play all of our community shows and get caught up on your favorite episodes of Make It Out Alive broadcast, The Life Outdoors, Hunting Southern Oregon, Terrible at Fishing with Michael Ruffino, and the show, The Restless Nomads. We'll be right back after this. Want to get your business noticed? Sponsor a show on KKFO Gold Country Radio on 103.3 FM and create awareness through on-air announcements, our online stream at goldcountryradio.org, and our podcasts that live on forever. Your message reaches a broad local audience while also targeting listeners who choose to tune in to the shows they love. Plus, we promote your sponsorship across our website and social media. For more information, email goldcountryradio@gmail.com. Call 541-238-6989 or visit goldcountryradio.org. Gold Country Radio, your message heard locally and beyond. All right, we're back from the break, and we were talking a little bit about pests in the RV. And that's no different in an RV than it is in a home. Same things pretty much apply. The only difference is that sometimes, and depending on how often you move, you'll pick up pests along the way and you'll drop off pests along the way, and that can be an issue. You want to make sure that you're trying to protect other locations. You know, if you pick up a critter in one state and then move to another state that previously did not have an issue, an RV can very likely start an issue in that new state for that pest. And we faced a few of these in our career as RVers. Fortunately, in this one, we have not had to deal with mice at all, but that is probably the creepiest one that you have, in my opinion. I hate the idea of little mammals running around in an RV while we're asleep at night. When we were at Lake Cochise, we experienced mice, and there was just no preventing it. Everyone there seemed to have a mouse or two, and so we would set up normal mouse traps and catch them. Some of the other hosts were more humane, I guess, than we were, and they would catch them, and then they would drive them a couple miles into the woods and release them. We wanted those suckers dead, so we would trap them, but it was always never fun to find the mice poop and the mice pee and stuff in your drawers, and you could see where they were chewing on stuff. But that's a part of RVing. That's something that you will have to encounter. Now, here's a pro tip for you. One thing that we started doing years ago that has helped in some peace of mind, as well as deterring mice from coming into the rig in the first place. All the food that you have that's not going in the fridge or the freezer should be in Tupperware containers. If you put everything in Tupperware containers, then you can rest assured that the mice won't be getting into those. Now, they need to have a secured lid on them, and if you do that, it'll deter the mice from ever coming in because there's really nothing for them to eat. Also, very important to clean up after every meal. Make sure you're practicing good camp hygiene in that way, and then get all that food, cereal, everything that's not in a sealed can. You know, if it's in a box or something like that, put it in a Tupperware container and then put it in your cabinets. And that's a great way to give yourself some peace of mind that, hey, the mice aren't going to get into the food and likely keep the mice out in the first place. At least that's the idea. Hopefully there will be fewer of them that make the trip into your RV because there's less to eat there. So hopefully they'll move on to the next RV, right? So that is something. Now, another thing that many RVers have done, and there are mixed reviews on the efficacy of this, is they'll put a rope light on the perimeter of their RV on the ground. And the idea is that mice do not like light, so that they won't cross that rope light and make it into the RV. Some people say it works great. Other people say not so much. Another thing that people do is they put Irish Spring soap bars in cabinets and counters and things like that. We've done this, never really noticed that it worked all that great. The traditional Irish Springs cheap soap. In fact, I remember one year when we had a Winnebago motorhome, we found an Irish Spring soap bar that had teeth marks in it where a mouse was chewing on it, which told me it probably didn't work all that great. Now, keep in mind that if you use something like Decon, that's mouse poison. They eat a little bit of that and then they go off and they die. But that can be dangerous if a pet gets a hold of it because that mouse consumed poison, and if the pet handles or consumes that mouse, then you've got a real problem on your hands. And also, just having poison on the ground level of anything, you really have to be concerned about your pets, especially dogs and cats, you know, obviously, that are going to be curious and they'll be exploring things. So just keep that in mind. There's some different, you could Google how to control mice in RVs and so forth, and you'll get 100 million different opinions and different answers. We've always done the, try to make sure that all the holes are sealed up so that mice can't get in. Now, of course, that's really difficult if you've got something like a slide out where there's natural gaps. It's just dang near impossible. So best thing to do is just for your peace of mind to know that no mice can get into your food. Also dog food, same thing. Put it in Tupperwares, as well as human food, anything that's not in a sealed can or doesn't belong in the fridge, something like that. Put it all in Tupperware containers and then put those in the cabinet. And then bonus is that it's easier to find stuff if you do that. You can pull out smaller Tupperware containers one at a time and locate what you're trying to get. Easier than trying to knock a bunch of stuff over in the cabinet to find whatever you're after. Well, we've been racking up the miles lately with our new Keystone Hideout. We went up to Kelso, like I said, where we picked up the RV, and we had them install the weight distribution system, my weight distribution system that I had with a former travel trailer. It's an Equalizer. Love that brand. Not getting paid by them, by the way. It's just a really great brand for sway control and weight distribution. It does not require that you disconnect it for backing up, and it's got that kind of 4-in-1. It uses friction to control sway, and then also operates as a weight control or weight distribution system as well. But that RV tech there in Kelso, Washington installed it, and now I'm looking at the setup sitting in front of my house and noticing quite a bit of sag in the rear of the truck and thinking that maybe they didn't get that quite right. So I might have to go out there with a torque wrench and raise the hangers on it to try to get more weight off of the back of the rear axle, and then transfer some more of that onto the front axle. Also got to be kind of careful with that too, because the A-frames are only rated for a certain amount of weight as well. So that's something to think about. You've probably, if you are an avid RVer, you've probably seen posts where people's A-frames on their trailers just broke. And that is most commonly due to way overloading the weight distribution, putting way too much weight on that A-frame when there shouldn't be. So I'm gonna test the waters and see if I can get the sag out of the truck. It does not drive quite like I want it to. I noticed some lack of steering authority. Basically, my steering is a little sloppy. That's an aviation term. When you have rudder authority, it means that it's harder to move the rudders, but the rudder operates more efficiently, essentially. And I noticed that my steering is looser because my front tires do not have as much weight on them as they do when I'm not towing. So I'm going to look at the weight distribution. I'm also going to look into the possibility of installing some airbags, which are just basically shocks that you can inflate on the rear axle to take some of that sag out of it. Now, I've been told that won't likely affect the ride. And from what I see, they're about $1,000. They're not cheap to install those shocks. And then more if you add a compressor system to where you don't have to have an external compressor. So I'm definitely going to try to fix the problem in its root cause with the weight distribution, see if I can get that weight distributed a little more equally before we investigate the whole airbag thing. Hey, if you've ever used the airbags, let me know. Send me an email, goldcountryradio.org, or drop us a message on the restlessnomads.com. If you have any experience with effective pest control, whether it be mice or bugs, or if you've used the airbags to help take the sag out of the rear suspension of your truck, let me know. Now, we're pulling our 7,500-pound trailer, empty, that is, with a Ford F-150 EcoBoost, and the tow rating on it is 9,600 pounds. We're well under that, so I know that it's capable, although I don't think that we would have the same issues with a heavier duty suspension of like a 3/4 ton or a 1-ton truck. So that might be in our future. We may be looking eventually, when money is appropriate, at getting a full-size truck down the road. All right, so let's get into the pro tip. And this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. And I've never had an incident because I am religious about this. Always double check your RV travel setup when you're breaking camp and you get everything hooked up. You want to make sure, whether it's a motorhome or a travel trailer, doesn't matter. There are some things that need to happen, right? Your water needs to be disconnected. Your power needs to be disconnected. All latches, doors, bay doors, and so forth need to be closed. Sewer disconnected, obviously, is a big one. Cable TV disconnected. You name it. Those things. Making sure that the RV is ready to travel. One of the biggest things that you need to be doing is know when to chalk and unchalk your RV. There will come a time at some point in the process that you need to remove the chocks. Otherwise, you're going to jump chocks when you get ready to pull out there, and that's not going to be comfortable at all. So check your tires. Make sure that there's no uneven wear. Check your tire pressures. That is something that you should do every single time you get ready to pull out. And even maybe 100, 150 miles down the road, it's a good idea to stop and check your tire pressures again, just to make sure that you are good to go. Now, they do have aftermarket TPMS, that's tire pressure monitoring system, components that you can install a little sensor on the valve stem and be able to monitor those remotely, whether it's on your phone or on another device in the truck or in the motorhome. And those are super nice because as long as you check it manually with a tire gauge enough times to begin to trust those numbers, then you won't have to get out and check with a tire gauge every single time, although it is still important to put eyes on the tires to make sure there's no uneven wear. Another big one people forget is their steps. You want to make sure that you have your steps in before you set off. Make sure that all the lights are working. That's a great idea as well. Tongue jack up in the case of trailers. There's so many things. Breakaway cables and safety chains installed. It's just a good idea to develop a routine, and I probably walk around the entire coupled trailer and truck 3 times before I set out, just making sure that I haven't missed anything, and I point to each and everything to make sure that I have it all right. Same goes for a motorhome. Do the same thing. All right, guys. Well, that does it for this week's Restless Nomads. We're super excited about going up to Crescent Lake and spending the season up there work camping. Check us out again on therestlessnomads.com. More episodes, blogs, and community stories there. Share your RV buying stories or your battle with stink bugs with us, if you like, and also tell us about your weight distribution woes and if you've ever used those airbags. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time here on the Restless Nomads radio show.